Good afternoon, everybody. And it's a Friday afternoon. I hope you are doing well. And I have been off for a couple of days handling some doctor testing, blood tests, x rays, all kinds of things. But I am back to do a truth rant. And it's probably a good idea to do one. We could use one today, especially for this week. So, real quick, um, let me just say that this is going to be in regards to the aftermath of the speech that President Trump did earlier this week. And then I'm also going to talk about a couple of people who, well, I'm just going to be honest with you. It's a show that I follow from a channel called Elijah Streams. Great show, great channel. And one of the shows that they have is called Prophets and Patriots. And on there, they have different patriots of all kinds. They've had Derek Johnson on there, and they've also had Dr. Jan Hayes on there. Of all the work they do. And it seems like everywhere they turn, there's an obstruction of some sort. The latest one was Amy Coney Barrett, which happens to be a Supreme Court judge who has now gone over the head of the executive order where it was stopping millions and millions of dollars from going to USAID, USAID, whatever they're called, to be paid out. She kind of hijacked that executive order in her own judge way and has now allowed it to go through our tax money. Some of us haven't even seen a refund. Some of us can't even afford a dozen eggs, but she's going to make sure that USAID is paid. Just want you to remember that. I call for her impeachment. I absolutely think she does not deserve to be in her position. That's my feelings. But anyhow, it seems like she's one of many of the obstructions to the American people getting back money that is due them. Okay. Last week, Doge had come across, for example, it was around about 50 billion with a B dollars of money that they were able to find of our money. This is not money they're printing up, ladies and gentlemen. This is our money that has been found, once again, through fraud or some money laundering. Okay. Now, we haven't even dealt with the congresswomen and men who have done insider trading, who's gotten kickbacks from money that was sent out to other countries like Ukraine. But here's my rant. Okay. I have a friend who works for a state agency. I'm not going to say what state. And in that state agency, she works with people who need help. Okay. Help from the government. And in the past week, 3 separate families have been forced out of their home, their apartment. They no longer could afford the apartment rent. And so they are all living with children in their vehicles. Now, we know in the past 4 or 5 years, that has grown substantially. Families living in their vehicle, families living in tents, families living under bridges, people. We've got even the elderly, the boomers living in this condition. I have seen disabled people in wheelchairs going into the shelters looking to be fed. This is the America we live in. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the same government, and I'm not talking about Trump, I'm talking about the administration beforehand, was passing out money, ATM cards, I think they were, or debit cards rather, that were loaded with thousands of dollars, and they were staying in luxury hotels and whatnot. This is how much they love the American people. Okay, that was then, this is now. So now all of us got tired of that, and we voted in this new administration. And again, they're doing a great job on finding all of this wealth of ours that has been, as I said, laundered and fraudulently spent. Here's my issue. How many obstacles do we have to put up with? How many people have to live under a bridge? How many people, how many children have to go to bed hungry? Do we all have to end up on the street? There's only the billionaire and millionaire going to be the one who has a home to live in, to where it becomes a state of emergency? How many of us need to be in that position before the government that's now in place says, you know what? This congressman, this congresswoman, this senator, this governor, whomever, who's being an obstructor, this judge broke the law. They had money kicked back to them, or crimes against humanity, or whatever. They have insider trading because they were supposed to be making 6 figures and they're worth 8. If you know that they broke the law and the feds won't work with you and the marshals won't work with you, you know what's next? You know who else us taxpayers paid for? The military. And so, the oath that the military takes is to be able to protect us, the American people, from domestic and foreign enemies. If we've got domestic enemies in the Capitol, maybe it's time to deal with them. See, the reason why I brought up Elijah Streams was this afternoon they had Dr. Jan. I think she's a wonderful woman. Don't get me wrong. But please don't turn around and look at the American people and say, be patient. We've been patient. You're disconnected because you go back to your luxurious home, or you go back to your mansion, or you go back to your, high-end lifestyle, eating your food and being able to pay your bills, and not realizing the American people have been very, especially the ones who know the truth, have been very patient. I think we've lost our patience. It's enough. We've got enough children who are going to bed hungry tonight. We have enough kids who are sleeping in the back seat of their car tonight. We've got enough people who've lost their businesses and their homes, and a lot of them have lost hope because all we see is political games being played, optics as they refer to them, or we're watching a movie. I'm sorry, but I don't want my life to be a movie, not for your entertainment, especially if you're a billionaire or a millionaire. So if you're in that position and you hear my voice, please start using the power that's within your control to get these people out of the way. If they've broken the law, just as I would break the law, I would have the cops at my door. They would be arresting me. I would have to pay for consequence right away. So should they, which makes me circle back to the Epstein list, the Diddy list. Where are the lists? Where are these client lists? Why are you protecting them? Oh, well, it's for national security. BS. If they were involved in national security, we should know that. You know why? We're the ones paying for the nation. We're the ones paying for it. Why are you protecting them? Stop with the legal mumbo jumbo and the legal, the loopholes that you keep finding to protect these people. You are put in your position to protect us from these very people. Why is BlackRock making, an offer to buy a port in the Panama Canal? They should be bankrupt. Why are we not out of central banking when we know what the central bankers have done? These central bankers wanted to take our lives, our very lives. They wanted to depopulate us. They said it. New World Order. I don't understand. If they're on our soil here breaking the law, why are they not arrested? And I'm sorry, President Trump, love you, think you're wonderful, think you're awesome, voted for you all the times that you ran, but you are commander-in-chief. If you cannot get law and order on your side to arrest these people, then you are commander-in-chief of our military, and there's plenty of military. And if that means that doctors and lawyers and judges and congresswomen and men and senators and mayors and governors and whatnot need to be arrested, so be it. If that means that military has to be on our streets, so be it. That's what we're paying for. That's what we're paying for. I can't worry about Ukraine. The people living in their car, they don't care about Ukraine. The people that are living under a bridge, they couldn't care less about Ukraine. They care about when their next meal is. And when you're standing there dangling in front of them money that belongs to them, telling them you're going to get it in a rebate or you're going to get it in a refund, well, what's the holdup? Help me understand this. Don't tell me to be patient. I've been patient. We've all been patient. That's why you're in the office, because we entrusted that by this point, something would have been done that would have made it to our doorsteps. That we won't be getting phone calls every day from debt collectors because we can't meet our bills. That we got to spend $12 for a dozen eggs. Why, did the chickens become golden? Did they become special chickens? That their eggs are so much more money now? Give me a break. We know that anybody that pays off their mortgage doesn't necessarily own their home. Why? Because we're still paying tax on the very land that house is on. We were told we were going to be free of that. We were supposed to be free of the IRS in the 1940s. It's now 2025. I think a lot of us don't want to have any more smoke blown up our rear ends. I think it's time for there to be movement. There's time to be demonstration of something to happen in our favor, the American public. Why? Because we're the ones paying for it. We're still having money taken out of our income. We're still being taxed. Why is that still happening? We talk and talk and talk. It's just a bunch of word salad. Who ends up on the news and who ends up on this interview? So what? That didn't put food on my table. That didn't help me out. And you know what? I care about that kid that's sleeping in their back seat of the car. I care about those people who lost their home. I care about those kids, who are having to work, and not in school. And they're all over the country. I'd rather my needs come after their needs. All over the country, labor trafficking, all kinds of trafficking. Do we care? I'm sure if I turn around to that kid right now, it's being trafficked. No, be patient. It'll happen soon. They'll go, oh, okay, sure, all right. I'll just keep being trafficked. No big deal. Really? Are you sure about that? When you sit in your mansion and you're eating your probably $1,000 dinner served to you by some servant, do you really believe that that kid is going to be patient for another day? Come on. It's time that we see some action. We've heard enough words. We've played enough games. We've seen enough censorship and shadow banning of the truth. We've had to play games of platforms, may I add, that have received, ready? Taxpayer money. Okay? To be able to even exist, they've gotten grants and help from taxpayer money just to be, YouTube being one of them. And yet, there are certain words and certain things you can't say on this platform in the American public. TikTok, garbage pail of platforms. And there are certain things you can't say, but if you got your boob hanging out and you got your fachimas hanging out, that's okay. But if you tell the truth, you're banned. You're shadow banned. That's pathetic. When your executive order, Mr. President, is being ignored, when your executive order is being trashed by a judge that you put in your first term, she's a garbage pail judge. She should be removed immediately, because you know what? We the people don't want her. When is it going to be about we the people? When are we going to see that? When is it going to be tangible in our hands? When are we going to have medical care that actually cares? Okay, it's not about the pharmaceutical companies. When we talk about it, that's all we hear is talk. Why is it that MSNBC and CNN and CBS and the rest are still up and running when they lied to the American public? When their propaganda pushed for people to get a poke that ended some of their lives, most of their lives, or made them very sick. That's not criminal? How many crimes does a person have to do before they get arrested? You mean I just have to be a billionaire or a millionaire and I could do all kinds of crimes to get away with it? Is that what the criteria is? To be able to avoid prison, all I got to do is just be a millionaire? How pathetic. And guess what? Everything I'm saying is exactly how most of the Americans feel right now. They're tired. They're tired of waiting. They're tired of hearing words coming from people. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We've got this and we've got that. Well, then friggin' do it already. Let me tell you what the Bible says about evil legislation. You ready? Let me help you out. Let me help you out because it's out there. Okay? And if you know the word, you'll know it's out there. And if you don't, let me help you out. Isaiah 10:1. Okay? Woe to those who decree iniquitous decrees, which is wicked decrees, and the writers who keep writing oppression, to turn aside the needy from justice, and to rob the poor of my people of their right, that widows may be their spoil, and that they may make the fatherless, which are orphans, their prey. What will you do on the day of punishment, in the ruin that will come from afar? To whom will you flee for help, and where will you leave your wealth? Nothing remains but to crouch among prisoners or fall among the slain. That's if you're complicit or if you're actually doing the crime. That's going to happen to you. And I pray in the name of Jesus Christ it happens today, in this hour, that just like in the day of Pharaoh, where the Israelites were finally freed, let my people go. And God made sure of it. And he maintained them through the time where they went through the wilderness. Hey, let me tell you something. The people in this globe, in this country, we've been through the wilderness. We went through 4 years of it. And now we're going through the Red Sea. And I thought on January 20th, we made it to the other side of the Red Sea. That's what I thought. That's what I saw. We finally made it into the promised land. And we did. Now it's time for the Red Sea to swallow up the enemy. This is the time. This is the season. We've prayed, we've petitioned, we've gone before the Lord. We've prayed you people into office. We supported you in the spirit. And now it's time for you to do your job. Because I am not going to go tell that family that's sleeping in their car tonight, just be patient. I am not going to tell that child that's being trafficked, just be patient. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to go tell those people that go to that church that have that wolf that's basically preying on them and making them feel too guilty to leave the church, and I'm going to get to that in a second. Just be patient. And there's a segue to John Paul Miller. So I hope if you're listening from the Capitol, please take my words seriously, because this is how most of the American people feel about you. Time to move. Time to take that oath seriously. Anyhow, John Paul Miller. So there seems to be a victim number 2. And if I could just send you over after this show to Crime and Theories, her name, she's on YouTube. And she will read to you an excerpt. And that's really all you need. That's really all you're going to want. is an excerpt out of the complaint from that second court hearing or court papers. It's a new suit against John Paul in regards to abuse. And I'll give you an idea of one of the things that were said. So this seemed to, she was a young girl, obviously, she was a minor, and she was going to one of the schools that the Millers owned. I can't remember the name of it. And she was abused by John Paul. And I think she spoke out. She spoke out, and she paid a very serious price. Now, you know, John Paul is very good. The Millers are very good at recruiting very weak-minded people, which we refer to as the flying monkeys, to do their dirty work, do a lot of their harassment, organized stalking, and you know, just all kinds of attacks on people who, you know, do the right thing. Well, nothing changed from back then. They've been doing this for years. They're pros at this. And so here's this girl who, you know, spoke up against her abuser, John Paul. And in one of the times where she was attacked by one of the flying monkeys of back then, she was held down on the ground, and they were spraying bug spray in her eyes and into her mouth. And there's John Paul standing there smirking, watching this girl who was already abused being attacked. Now, this is alleged, this is an accusation, but it's making its way to court. Okay, this girl has probably waited a long time for justice. But if not for Micah, she probably would have never seen it. So there you go. And that's just an excerpt of what was said. Now, like I said, Crime in Theory, she's here on YouTube. If you just find her, she'll give you a breakdown of what's in that second lawsuit. And I'm just telling you, it's heartbreaking. And I think she was doing a part 2, so there might be more. But it really is heartbreaking. Very, very sad. This Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, well, actually today is the 7th, and if I'm not mistaken, is today Micah's birthday. Micah would have been 31 today. And so this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, they're celebrating Micah's birthday. Yes, it is very heartbreaking, Crystal. And so it's going to be 2 separate celebrations. The family is going to have their own celebration, totally understandable, as they should. And we should understand that they need their privacy. And this is going to be their first birthday without her. So we could understand why they would want that time alone. And then there are some Justice for Micah people who are coming from all over to meet in Myrtle Beach. I think at an undisclosed location, which I don't blame them, to celebrate also Micah's birthday. So happy birthday, Micah. In heaven, God bless you. We are still fighting for you. We are still fighting for your justice, just so you know. And we believe one day she and all the other victims will get it. Very soon, we hope. And we will be here to see that. Okay, so let me, of course, while I'm here live, let me just let you know that I had put up a new documentary, and it was something that me and Tracy had discussed, and we felt necessary to share with you guys. It's on Rumble. We cannot put it up here on YouTube. And it is called Q Trust the Plan. It's actually called something else, but I had called it Q Trust the Plan. And it's by Joe M. Joe M. has done a few documentaries for the truther community. If you are into the truth, if you want to know why we are where we are and what President Trump really did step into 8-9 years ago, what has happened so far, what the players have been doing, and what is to be expected to happen now, that will give you chock full of information. It is just a wonderful documentary, very well put together. You might be amazed at some of the things that you see. If you're interested, it is there for you for free. Once again, Q Trust the Plan. And Q is really just mentioning the highest level of military. Q clearance is the highest level of intel clearance. So that's what that is. That's all that means, really. People make it more than it really is. It's a little annoying. So we did share that with you, and it will be under this live. Okay, so I just put it up yesterday, and it's available for you today on Rumble. So anyhow, there's my rant. There's my update on the Micah Miller case, on this new victim. And thank you for everyone that has shown up in chat. God bless you. I'm glad to see you here. And for everyone else that watches after, God bless you too. Yeah, that's what Q is. Q has always been, and it actually started back in the 1960s with John F. Kennedy, and it's really made up of a bunch of generals that come out of Virginia. There's some military base or something in Virginia where most of these generals were located, and they were aware of the New World Order that was being talked about, that was being planned out, that we've been fighting in this era. But back then is when they were, beginning the military strategy, if you will, to shut it down. And it took this long. Think about all the years. And this is one of the reasons why we believe that John F. Kennedy lost his life, and many others throughout the years, because they attempted, and this is including celebrities, attempted to tell this truth and weren't able to. Now we're able to. The reason why we're able to do that safely, yes, is because of President Trump, is because he stood up and became commander-in-chief, and because of the very good people in the military who protect us. There's a board that most people go to, and I'm doing air quotes, my fingers, comms, and this comes from, allegedly, now I have no proof of it, the Marines, and I think the Navy. And these are just guys who give us truth in communications of what's been going on in our world. To be honest with you, for me, it's been a reason to pray and what to pray against. So it's all the same. CNN came up with the term QAnon. There really is no such thing. It's actually a fallacy. That person does not exist. Good to see you too, Carrie. So sometimes, the enemy, like you see people screaming and yelling now about Doge. The people that are screaming and yelling are the ones that do not want to be arrested and exposed for all the thievery they've done. Well, the mainstream media, which is a bunch of talking heads of word salad, that all they do is push propaganda, and not really the news or the truth, are the ones who brought that up, that term, to make anybody who tries to tell the truth look like a nut job. And so, without having to give away that the material in that documentary, that's basically explaining that and explains why. And like I said, it's just a really, really good documentary. And so, of course, with discernment and prayer, when you've got prophets of God who follow and listen to this, then you're in the right place. And I do follow prophets who follow, like Amanda Grace. They follow the Q or the Q posts, or, follow the plan or trust the plan. There's Johnny Enlow, there's Andrew Whalen, there's Steve Schultz. There's all kinds of prophets of God who, their prophecies have come to pass. They've been tried already and tested, at least by me. Follow this, and then they have actually put it together with the Book of Enoch and found there's parallels between the two. So there's so much to learn, and that we want to share with you. But sometimes this is not the right place. TikTok is absolutely not the right place. Facebook's getting better. YouTube is getting better. I have to give them props. Okay, I wouldn't have been able to say half of what I said a year ago, but now they're getting much better. Yes, the IRS is on their way out. Now, if you haven't gotten your refund back, I haven't. I had, me and my husband had finished our taxes on January 28th, I think it was. And they say, we did it all digitally, and you usually get it back in 21 days. Well, I got Georgia's back, but I didn't get federal. Now they said, oh, well, we put it into your account on the 21st of February. No, you didn't. It's not there. But I went and looked it up, and it looks like that was around the time where the IRS was frozen by Doge. So we were told that there was going to be a delay. And let me tell you something. If out of that the delay comes where we get a $5,000 or $10,000 check, I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to wait. I'm doing this rant for people who can't afford to wait. And there are many Americans who cannot afford to wait. The elderly, there's veterans. Like I said earlier, there are families that are living in their cars, living in their vans, living in a tent, living under a bridge, going to the shelters to go and get their next meal. And this is not America. This is not the America that we paid into, that we worked so hard for. So I'm just trying to encourage our commander in chief and encourage his administration that if you keep finding everywhere you turn an obstruction by the left or by the cabal or by the lemmings of George Soros, and you know that they've broken the law one way or another, get them out of the way. Now, if your law enforcement that's supposed to answer to you, like the FBI and whatnot, will not do their job and arrest these people, then go to the next best thing is the military. Get the military in there and start, taking them out. I don't mean taking them out like ending their life. I mean taking them out, arresting them. There's martial law. Let us be under martial law if we must. This is a state of emergency. When you've got more people losing their homes and not able to put food on the table than the ones that can. It has been going on for too long. So I'm encouraging movement, and I'm praying for movement. Now, Purim ends next Friday, a week from today. So who knows? Maybe God's got a plan for there to be movement. I'm just praying for that. IRS needs to go down. IRS should have went down in the 1940s. They were never supposed to go past that point, just like welfare. Welfare was not supposed to go on forever and ever and become a lifestyle. It was only supposed to help people coming out of World War II. So again, and please just go to the experts on this. Don't come to Ann. I know about this through the experts, and they are in all those documentaries that I've shared with you. And there's a new one, as I said, and for the people coming in, it's called Q Trust the Plan. It is up. And I think it's about 45 minutes or somewhere around there. And you will absolutely enjoy it. And if you want to know the truth from beginning to end, that is the best place to go. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I love you guys. I absolutely appreciate you taking out the time to join me. And anybody who's joining later, God bless you as well. Love you guys as well. And we will be back soon. I know we keep saying me and Tracy will be back. We will be back. We did have a show yesterday scheduled. I was the one who wasn't able to make it because I'm right now under some testing. They're testing, me for, some autoimmune disease. It's affecting my hands. So they're trying to figure out what's going on. But until I talk to you again, until I see you again, please go take a look again at Rumble and the new documentary. And until I see you again, God bless.